to offer an amendment in the nature of the substitute. Does the gentleman have an amendment at the desk?
Yes, I do.
I believe copies of the amendment have already been distributed and are on the dais. The clerk will report.
Amendment in the nature of a substitute offered by Mr. Messer. Strike all after the enacting clause, insert the following.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read and will serve as base text for purpose of amendment. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for your leadership and help on this bill. I want to start with taking a moment of personal privilege to embarrass my 14-year-old daughter, Emma Messer, who is, step up, huh? Stand up, huh? Yeah. And could we give her a Financial Services Committee welcome? I'm proud to have Emma with me today. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I also want to take the time to thank Congresswoman Maloney, who is the lead Democratic co-sponsor on this important bill, and for all her help and assistance in this work. And Chairman, I want to thank your team and the entire financial services staff for all their hard work on the legislation as well. You know, in September 2014, the federal banking regulators issued a rule establishing the liquidity coverage ratio, LCR. The purpose of the LCR is to ensure that banks maintain adequate, high-quality liquid assets, HQLAs, to endure certain periods of financial stress. Unfortunately, this rule excludes U.S. municipal bonds. It unfairly singles out domestic municipal debt, even though many corporate bonds and sub-sovereign German municipal debt with similar liquidity features are considered HQLAs. Yep, that's correct. I did not misspeak. Some of the safest U.S. domestic municipal securities are not included, even though some foreign municipal debt is. The bottom line is, obscure banking regulations that exclude all domestic municipal securities from HQLA eligibility discourage financial institutions from holding municipal debt. And worst of all, the rule is costing taxpayers money. Because of this senseless federal regulation, state and local governments incur higher borrowing costs to finance infrastructure projects, hurting towns and cities across America and in my home state of Indiana. Our bill, H.R. 1624, the Municipal Finance Support Act of 2017, provides a common sense solution to this arbitrary rule, ensuring the federal government isn't standing in the way of local investment and growth. This bill would direct all federal bank regulators, the FDIC, the Fed, and the OCC, to classify all investment-grade municipal securities as an HQLA. That is no lower than a level 2B liquid asset for purposes of the LCR. Under this bill, bank regulators maintain the flexibility to determine the appropriate risk weight for qualifying investment-grade municipal securities. But instead of disincentivizing U.S. banks from holding high-grade municipal debt, this legislation will lower the cost of municipal projects and help to ensure low-cost infrastructure financing remains available for state and local governments across the nation. The bill is supported by a wide array of stakeholders like the National Governors Association, the Government Finance Officers Association, State Treasurer Associations, among others, including the Indiana State Treasurer, my good friend, Kelly Mitchell. A similar bill also passed this committee last Congress by a vote of 56-1 in this committee and later passed the House by a voice vote. This year, we will be working hard to push the legislation all the way across the finish line. I'm proud to have worked with Congresswoman Maloney on this bipartisan legislation that will encourage growth for all of our communities. And I urge my colleagues to support this bipartisan bill. And I yield back the 1 minute and 5 seconds of my time.